Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about the meditation and the instruction to the meditation. As a Buddhist practitioner, I would like to remind you to the generate bodhicitta, compassion, loving kindness, in order to benefit all sentient beings. Therefore, we are here to study the meditation, to contemplate meditation, and to meditate on the subject of meditation. This is very important for the Buddhists, particularly for the Mahayana practitioners. And we all know this is very important. In the past, the great masters highly recommended for the practitioners to be cultivated and generated the compassion, the loving kindness. Now, talking about meditation, in Buddhism, there are 3 doors enter into the actual path. The path of study, and the path of contemplation, and path of meditation. And talking about the meditation in general or in particular, it is very common, it's nothing special. Some of you may have expectation for meditation that gives you a special strength or the power that you need to be carried on, like making particular session, particular retreat, and a particular time for meditation, which is the wrong idea, according to the great masters in the past. Meditation is our daily life. Meditation is every aspect of our daily life. As a Buddhist, particularly as a practitioner who is looking for ultimate joy and ultimate liberation, then the meditation is the only bring you to that destination. In this perspective, the meditation is very helpful in our daily life. Of course, within the meditation, there are all sorts of like the techniques and the processes and the ways to getting into. But in general, the idea of the meditation is nothing special than our daily life. Concentration is a part of meditation. Mindfulness is also part of a meditation. Focus is also part of a meditation. Cautiousness, carefulness, and alertness are all part of meditation. Meditation should be begun from those qualities, because inner strength, the power, will be increased from these foundations. So it has to be dealt with our daily life. It's nothing to do with a particular religion or a particular practice. Meditation is the foundation of our joyful life. Lack of those qualities, we are going through difficulties, hardships, frustrations, fears, dissatisfactions, and etc. are all come from lack of meditation, lack of mental stability, lack of cautiousness, carefulness. The powerful mental distractions lead us to the problems, sorrow, pain, etc. So, talking about Mahamudra, Mahāti, the Madhyamika, all sorts of profound meditation instructions are available. But my idea is not that important to us for the time being. For us, the most crucial the practice is to be mindful. As a Shantideva's instruction in the Bodhisattva Chaiyavatara, the mindfulness is the key point to the meditators. Lack of mindfulness, lack of cautiousness, we face all sorts of problems unexpectedly. Forget about teachings, forget about instructions from great masters. I myself cannot work with myself. I can't get rid of all these unwanted situations because I'm stuck there because of lack of meditation, lack of mental stability, and a lack of mindfulness. In the Theravada tradition, there are 3 trainings. In Buddhism, but Theravada emphasizes these 3 trainings, particularly. So the training of discipline first. Then the second is the training of the samadhi meditation or concentrative meditation. And number 3 is the training of wisdom. Number 1, talking about the training of morality, or morality sounds not so favorable. It's not really favorable sound. It's moral, something like forcefully let you do something, this and that. And you feel very much pressure that, oh, I have to do, I must do, otherwise I can't get out of these problems. So moral is a bit a heavy sound to me, but instead of that, like the discipline, the physical discipline, the verbal discipline, and the mental discipline. Discipline is very natural and is not that difficult if you are very aware of such. And so discipline is related to mindfulness. So in our daily life, or in our everyday life, and we have to be mindful. So that is a discipline. Without a discipline, without good behavior, then one cannot develop meditation at all. Therefore, number one, the Lord Buddha has given the lesson of this discipline. In the discipline, it's nothing to do with the religious figure. It's rather the practical figure. And it is a reality, and it is a true in our human life or in our daily life in general, every aspect of your activity. So we need discipline, the mindfulness, focus, concentration. With that, we can achieve every activities. The failure of the application of the mindfulness, then we face trouble. And the failure of achievement of our own goal. So therefore, it is a very wise instruction that practitioners should be applied the training of the discipline. It's so important. Right from the beginning of your practice, like in the morning when you wake up, after waking up, then the first thought should be discipline, the training of the discipline. Joyfully, not forcefully, joyfully, because you knew already that discipline is the foundation, is the source of joy and happiness. Anything you do, the practice of Dharma or any activities you do, then the discipline associate along with it, and then achievement is there. And it gives you strength and the power and the joy to be completed. So discipline, what is discipline? The discipline needs to be associated along with the wisdom also. So you see these three trainings are linkage to each other. The link to each other. You cannot pick it up independently. These three trainings are interdependent to each other. So in order to apply the discipline, the training of a discipline, you need wisdom. The wisdom, with the wisdom, the mind of wisdom can see the truth, right and wrong. It is called the wisdom of distinguishing between right and wrong, and negativity and positivity. In order to subdue or bring down the power of conflict, confusion, or afflictive emotion, one cannot apply the wisdom that be able to see the truth or the true nature, the nature of the confusion itself. You can't say confusion is empty, anger is empty, desire is empty, stupidity is empty, jealousy is empty. We can say it easily, but when it comes to the point, it's so difficult. It's not that easy. I myself am sitting in the chair and I tell you this and that, but to me also, for me also, I'm going through these difficulties. I know that, cannot deny it. It's not easy. We need to spend time a lot with the practice and the training of our mind in our daily life. Yet, we cannot deny which is true. So, I cannot say desire is empty, and I cannot say anger is empty. It is there. It is there. So it's not easy to be identified or realized its emptiness. So therefore, the great Pandits in India, they say should apply the wisdom that can distinguish between right and wrong. So it's so important in our practice. That is what we call the discipline. Discipline is not something like under the feeling of a fear or anxiety or obligation, think that I must not do this. If I do this, I will get trouble. I must do that. If I do that, I will get this and that. Something like the feeling of a fear and the expectation, and then if you consider this is discipline, so that is a wrong idea. So the discipline the understanding of the knowledge of a discipline should be developed by development of wisdom. Prajna in Sanskrit. The prajna means in Tibetan Sherab. She means actually the mind. Rab means the supreme or the ultimate. That means the ultimate mind. The ultimate mind has different levels within the wisdom, and the great Indian Pandits suggested to the practitioners should apply the wisdom that can distinguish between right and wrong. So there are many choices. So we choose the right and we give up the wrong. And we choose the positivity and we give up the negativity. So that wisdom is, we call the discipline. And so this discipline, the training of the mind, training of the discipline that leads then the concentrated meditation. So concentrated meditation, the mind focusing on something. Development of the mental stability. Lack of this, then we fail to carry our practice, on and every day. We keep changing our practice. We choose this subject, and after some days feel bored, or you wanted to give it up, and then you think, I must choose this subject. Then you choose that, and after a certain period of time, and you feel fed up with that, and then you choose another. But eventually, towards the end, nothing. You get nothing. So that is because of the lack of the mental stability or concentrative meditation. When I'm talking about concentrative meditation, does not relate it to like a really meditation that you make a physical posture and then bring mind towards the object, and then you rest mind and bring forcefully your mind into focus. My point here, concentrative meditation, is the mindfulness. Mindfulness, cautiousness, alertness at all times. So that is the concentrative meditation. It's rather more practical rather than you sit quietly somewhere and scared with the noise and the external factors, and you want to be in the solitary retreat, and then thought you are being away from the noise, then you can meditate well. But it takes time. To me, with the power of mindfulness, you can meditate well. We have to deal with the external factors. As a meditator, we have to go outside. We have to hear the sound. We have to see all kinds of forms. And we have to work with the objects of form, sound, smell, taste, etc. We have to work with them. And then you have to examine the motivation, you have to examine the mind. And then you see how. Is it difficult or easy? Or is it really doing improvement in your practice? Then you would know much better than you sit quietly somewhere and doing meditation. So, concentrative meditation, emotion also. When emotion arises, then you should look at the emotion itself. I'm not talking about emotion is empty, is not existed. It's not true. It is existed. Emotion, anger are truly existed as long as you cling on it. You cannot simply say anger is empty, it's not there, or emotion is not there, desire is not there. That means you are lying. You are denying, which is not true. They are there. But now, what we are trying to do is, the first, like in the meditation, we call there two aspects of meditation: analytical meditation, and the other one is called settled meditation. Analysis, we look into the emotion itself. The most troublesome to us is the emotion in everyday life. Not much external objects disturb you at all. I don't think so. Most problem is the inner emotion that gives us restless and that makes us anxious. So therefore, when anger arises or any emotion arises, so bring these emotions as an object of your meditation. You don't need to see it's empty. It's not easy. You cannot see they are empty or it's empty. With the analysis, then we have to search the characteristic of the emotion. Its shape, its form, its characteristic, and what constitutes of being those existed. So need to analyze very, very carefully. So that is also concentrated meditation. Concentrated meditation does not mean simply your mind bring into focus and make thoughtlessness. Concentrative meditation, why concentration? The concentration because you are trying to be free from the distraction, and make mind more of the virtuous action, and try to approach towards the reality, towards the truth, the fact. So, concentrative meditation leads by training of the morality or the discipline. Then, once you are able to settle these two training, then the wisdom arises, the training of wisdom. So this is very general, the discipline and the concentrated meditation and the wisdom. These three trainings given by our Lord Buddha, particularly to the Theravada practitioners. As a Mahayana, mind is much broader and much wider. That's why we call Mahayana, Mahayanist, Mahayana practitioner. And in the Mahayana practice, then the meditation, now why we need to meditate, we have to know why we do need meditation, why we need meditate. Because this mental distraction, because of the mental destruction, we are unable to achieve the great joy and the great happiness. The distraction itself is, when we call distracted mind, what is the distraction? Tibetan is called Myeonmong, or sometimes we call it Ingwa. That is because of all the thoughts, emotion, anger, jealousy, desire, whatsoever, all this emotion is just a part of your mind. We must not blame on them. We can't say anger is bad, the jealousy is bad, the desire is bad, or stupidity is bad. We must not blame on them. These are just a part of your mind. It's manifestation of your mind. It's a reflection of your mind, like wave and ocean. Wave never separated from the ocean itself. Likewise, thoughts, the virtuous thoughts or non-virtuous thoughts, whatsoever, are all inseparable from your basic mind. Because of the failure of recognition, so the power of the distraction or distracted mind lead us away from your own basic mind. This is very interesting, like the system in the meditation. So you will realize meditation is not something bring your mind into focus alone. Meditation helps you realize your own true nature of mind, your own true nature. We lost in between. The projection seemingly existed anywhere. All our projection, mental projection, and we lost in the projection. Failure of recognition, the projections are no other than your own basic mind. It is just the manifestation of your mind, and you are failed to be recognized, the projections, as a part of your mind. You make separate the projection and basic mind. So projection, like object, then the mind, subject, makes separate in between. So because of this, we are wandering in this samsara. Hopes, fears are all come from where? Come from the failure of recognition. All the projections are just a part of your basic mind. So meditation introduces you that all the projections are within our mind. If you realize it, then no longer you are the fool around by the external factors. For the time being, lack of mental stability, lack of meditation even a slightest matters of the external factors and fool you around, overwhelmed, and you lost your control because of the powerful projection, mental projection. When you are alone at home or in the cave or in the retreat place, it seems everything okay. You could tell yourself, say that, okay, I'm doing quite okay. Yeah? I'm doing okay because you are alone there, nobody disturb you. So you thought you are all right. But then, when you are out of a retreat, with so many projections around you, then you lost your meditation. You see how powerful the external factors. Why they are powerful? Because you are still not completed or well trained your meditation. Because of our negative habitual tendencies from the beginning of the time is still there, profoundly there, and deeply rooted there. Your practice is very little. Your practice is very limited. Our habitual tendency is so profound, so deep, and so solidly there. So therefore, what I'm trying to tell you here is, not I'm telling you, but from the great master's instruction. So I'm here repeating, So the great master says, the meditator, great master of meditators says that we should carry on meditation in our everyday life. So we don't blame to anything. I don't blame you, and I don't blame on my confusion. I don't blame on my ego. I don't blame anything else. I just blame on the lack of mindfulness. I just blame on the lack of the mental stability. So all come from the lack of something. The qualities are existed within each and every one of us, but to bring it out is rather difficult because our study, our training, our practice is very limited. We carry on our practice when there is no problem. Seems everything is okay. Nobody accuse you, nobody abuse you, nobody attack you, nobody criticize you. Okay, I'm doing okay. Everybody is so nice to you. Everybody talks so beautiful about you. So then you think, oh yeah, I'm okay. I'm doing okay. But somebody accuse you, at that moment, are you still carrying your practice? Difficult. Somebody use harsh words to you, are you able to carry your practice? Compassion, patience, that moment? Difficult. So therefore we need an object, isn't it? We need an object. We need someone who accuses you if you really want to practice patience. And if anybody tells you sweet things and the good things, of course, you are okay. So you are doing quite okay. You can say, I'm bodhisattva, because I have no anger. Nobody irritates you, so you think that I'm okay, I'm bodhisattva. But if somebody irritates you, at that moment, then you will know, are you bodhisattva or not? So therefore, as a duty, our duty is not looking for others' fault and a mistake. Our duty is to looking for my own fault and a mistake. Because I'm practitioner, I'm meditator, I'm practitioner. As a practitioner, I need to correct myself. I cannot correct you. In order to correct you, I need to correct myself ahead. Then I can correct you. So in order to correct others, in order to benefit others, I should reveal my inner qualities. Knowledge-wise, no problem. We all know, as a Buddhist, we listen teaching every day, we attend the teachings, and we meet up all the great masters, and they're given almost the same subject, the teaching. Be a good person, be a good practitioner, mental destruction is no good, be patient, tolerate, don't be negative, and do meditate, keep your mind well, don't be distracted, your mind, almost the same. And we know. And every book you read that tells the same story. And we know. But our problem is not reading book. Our problem is applying those instructions within. That is our problem. So no point to keep attending teaching if you are failed to apply them within, isn't it? 100 times or 1,000 times you attend a teaching and I meet up all the great masters and the great meditators, you keep receiving instructions. But if you fail to bring them within, then what? Nothing. So therefore, duty as a duty. If I really care for myself, I really love myself, I really need to be a good practitioner, then we need to apply those instructions within. Practice means we have to walk with our mind. That's it, nothing. Meditation is just a name. It's just a name, meditation. Concentrated meditation is just a name. Name is nothing important. The important is to work with it, to work with our mind, to work with our emotion, to work with our confusion. We have to work very eagerly, very urgently. Just sit there quietly and say that I'm generating bodhicitta, compassion, loving kindness towards all sentient beings is not enough. Of course, it's still good, but it's not really enough. We have to do something. Qualified means how to be qualified myself. I have to bring every words, every instruction given by the great masters. I have to bring them into my mind. Make sure that all those instructions are valuable, are true. Then I can help others. Then I can benefit others. So the experience from the meditation means that we need to apply within it. Otherwise, where you can get the experience. Experience of the meditation means that we have to do meditation in every day, right? In every day. No matter whether you are alone or whether you are with the people or whatsoever. So we need to apply. So Mahamudra talks about all phenomena are just the mental projection. Mahaatti also says same thing. The Madhyamika tells all phenomena are emptiness. Nothing is truly existed. You know? That's true. But in order to reach that level, the first our duty or responsibility is to make mental stability. It's so important. Without mental stability, we cannot develop any other qualities of the mind, like compassion. It's not easy. We can't simply say, oh, pity, right? No. Compassion needs wisdom. Loving kindness needs wisdom. Even the practice of the impermanence and also need the wisdom. Without wisdom, any of those qualities cannot be developed or cultivated. So therefore, meditation Because many of us, sometimes we think that meditation, when we talk about meditation, okay, meditation, just sit quietly with the seven, the Vairocana postures, and then just make thoughtless, rest. Or maybe you forcefully stop the thoughts. Or if you have an emotion problem, then maybe you think that I should stop my emotion. Or you blame, oh, my anger, no good. That's it. When anger arises, then you try to bring it down forcefully, thinking that anger no good, jealousy no good. So just blaming on them and try to forcefully to bring them down. That is not skillful means. Not at all. So meditation is beyond that. It is something that you are working or doing joyfully. Something that you are doing with your emotion, with the full of understanding and full of knowledge. And it gives you the strength or power of realizing their nature. Then the transformation comes later. Transformation is not the main subject in the meditation, although meditation is for the purpose of transformation, but the transformation comes later, once you are fully developed all the rest of the qualities. Transformation is the basic reality of the mind. It's nothing to do with the meditation alone. It is something to do with our everyday life. We eat, we walk, we talk, and we do all kinds of things because of the transformation. The transformation is the principle or the foundation of the mind. Because of the power of a foundation that we can develop our meditation. If foundation the transformation is not existed, then any other rest of the qualities cannot be found at all. So we are not inventing something else, but rather we are trying to discover our qualities. That is so important. All the qualities are existed within, always there. Never decline by the negative emotions like anger, the jealousy or confusion. Never touch our innate true nature of mind. Never. Therefore we can be proud of meditator as a meditator and meditation. If innately our true nature is diluted by confusion, by negativities, then yes, of course, no point to do study, no point to do contemplation, no point to do meditation. So therefore, to trust ourselves is so important to do meditation. Should not think that I cannot. You must not think that I may not be able to. You can, we can. We all can do. But the problem is the laziness. The laziness is so powerful in our daily life, particularly with the practice, particularly with the meditation. We are so lazy. We are not lazy with doing the mundane worldly life, doing business, going around, vacation, to be distracted mind. Not so difficult. We have a time, we have an energy, and we can do everything. But when it comes to the practice, to cultivate compassion, loving kindness, and meditation, contemplation, then laziness starts. And then you are so particular with the time. 1 hour, too long. And you will say, if the master tells you, can you do 1 hour? Then you will say, I cannot. Half an hour? Maybe. 10 minutes? I will try. 5 minutes? Okay. So you see how particular you are with the time, your energy, and then you have a lot of excuses, say that tomorrow is a Saturday, I have to go somewhere, I have to take care of my family, Sunday, I must go there, then Monday I'll be busy. So you are very particular But other things, so easy. So therefore, it's not so easy to work with your mind. Although you know the mind is the factor, and the cause of all the problem is the emotion, confusion. You know that very well, but you are just not willing to work with it. Not willing because of the profound habitual tendency. And it's still there. If you don't work, it cannot be overcome. So, meditation, what I'm trying to tell is, for me, real meditation is to be mindful. Mindfulness helps you to reduce the power of confusion. Actual meditation of like shunyata, emptiness, madhyamika, mahati, mahamudra, that helps you to uproot the confusion. Mindfulness simply cannot uproot or get rid of the confusion, but at least the mindfulness helps you to reduce the power of confusion, anger, emotion. And so therefore, when someone is so angry, or someone has full of anger, or accuse me, or criticize me, as a Buddhist practitioner, particularly Mahayanist, and the person who is on the path and working with all this emotion, and one should understand well. And then, not easily you will react to them. Because we are not blaming on the anger itself. We are not blaming. We are not blaming anger. We are not blaming confusion. It's just a part of our mind. It is just a part of our mind. So as a meditator, when anger arises, then the mindfulness helps you. This is anger. Lack of mindfulness, so when anger arises, then you fail to recognize or identify anger itself. That's our problem. So the Gampopa says mindfulness should go along with meditation, always. Regardless whether your meditation is analysis or settled, doesn't matter. But at the beginning we should work with the settled meditation. No, the analytical meditation. So the analytical means you analyze, examine. So Kadamba masters give us instruction, very interesting instruction. When external factor makes you anger, then the first application is recognition of anger. We can't say anger is empty. It will not work for you at all. If somebody tell you anger is empty, and you will get more angry. Yes, this is not the right time to tell you anger or confusion is empty. This is not the proper time to tell you everything is empty. Instead of that, somebody should remind you anger is arising. You have to be careful. Then that is very, very the beautiful instruction. If somebody next to me, when I get angry, this person tells me, "You are angry now, please calm down, relax." It's not good. Okay, I can understand. It's really beautiful instruction or reminding. So therefore, mindfulness is how you see how useful the mindfulness is. Lack of mindfulness, so even somebody remind you does not work. If you have a mental stability and a mindfulness, cautiousness, carefulness at all times, so the number of arising those confusion or negative emotion will be reduced. Why we have so many confusions? So many times it arises, like morning, afternoon, evening, even in the night time. So the countless number of those confusion arises. Why? Lack of mental stability, lack of mindfulness, lack of alertness. So therefore, we do have all these negative emotion keep arising from time to time. So if you really want to reduce the number of arising those confusions, what we have to do? So we have to apply the mindfulness. It's so important. Many practitioners neglect or ignore the mindfulness. They're only looking for like true nature of mind. I want to see my own true nature of mind. I want to see emptiness. I want to see clarity. I want to see brilliance of the mind. What for? It will not work for you. Where is the true nature? What are you talking about, the true nature of your mind? Is it anger is your true nature of mind? So, therefore, there is no urge to be recognized the true nature of mind. To us, need to be urged or eager to be mindfulness, to be mindful, to be mindful. If you are mindful in everyday life, meditation will arise spontaneously, easily, and you can walk with your mind very easily. Even some obstacles, some hindrances, some negative circumstances come to you, you can easily handle with them because of the mindfulness. So Bodhisattva Avatara, the 4th chapter, 5th chapter, mainly instruction of how to be mindful. It's so profound teaching by Shantideva and the Bodhisattva way of life. So, Bodhisattva does not mean someone just got a good heart. Bodhisattva, the person who is dealing with all these situations easily, skillfully, and instructing to others. That is the Bodhisattva. In our mind, when we talk about the Bodhisattva, is someone who is just smiling always and talk sweet things and accept everything as it is, never react. So we think this is Bodhisattva. It's too cheap, isn't it? No, the Bodhisattva is the person who has the full of wisdom. They realize such and experienced fully, completely, and tells this to others without any mistake and confidently. So that is what we call the Bodhisattva. So, I'm not going into like different stages of the meditation, like in shamatha meditation. There are all sorts of things. Of course, many of you might be heard of these. Some 9 stages, and sometimes there is 5 stages, and then with the object, objectless, and essence meditation. These are very common. It's not so difficult. To us, most difficult is the foundation of the shamatha meditation, the foundation of the vipassana, the foundation of the general meditation. Many of lack of such knowledge, and we straight go into the meditation, but failed. And we do receive all kind of instructions of the meditation, but fail. Why we fail? Because we have been failed to recognize the principle, the foundation of the meditation. That is the mindfulness. Very little practitioners tell this subject, mindfulness. Of course they tell mindfulness, but different aspect. So we follow the instruction of the Shantideva. So therefore, Shantideva says, actual meditation is the mindfulness for the practitioners. In the sutra, Buddha gave example. Half moon is the source of the full moon. So without half moon, there is no the full moon. Likewise, there is no Theravada, then no Mahayana. No Mahayana Bodhisattvas, then no Buddha. Given such example by Buddha, which means the mindfulness is the actual meditation. Without mindfulness, then we cannot develop any other meditation. So, the method of meditating, not only sitting position, walk, talk, eat, do anything. We have to apply with every aspect of your lifestyle. You can do meditation while you are driving, you can do meditation while you are eating, and you can do meditation while you are talking to people, and you can do meditation while you are sleeping. And all kinds of things. So therefore, nothing. There is a life which is not associated along with the meditation. So every aspect of your life is associated along with the meditation. It's so beautiful. Kadampa Master says, feel sadness is also the meditation. Feel joy is also the meditation. So the 24 hours, we spend 24 hours with the meditation. Our problem is when you attend the teaching and the great masters give teaching talking about meditation and you listen, seems everything okay and you feel that you can do that. But the problem is when you go outside, then you fail to apply them. Not you, we all. So that's a problem. Teaching, when you are in the teaching, yes, seems everything okay. But when you are alone, then difficult, because you forgot the teachings that time. So, importance of the practice of meditation today, we need to deal with the situation instead of sitting quietly inside a room or inside somewhere. It's so slow and not so effective. Effectiveness comes from dealing with the situation and the circumstance. Like Shantideva himself and Jawa Lorepa from the Dubakaju masters. And he says, my great test is when someone in front of me and criticize me. So this is the great teaching to me, he says, Jawa Lorepa. Somebody accuse you, somebody criticize you in front of people. He said, that moment is the greatest teaching to me. When you sit on a throne, everybody sit on the floor and face you and then do prostrations and respect you. And he said, seems everything okay. So therefore, as a practitioner, what we need is, we need to prove something. Not simply saying meditation is important, practice is important, doing this and that is important, but we have to prove, right? We have to prove, I have to prove myself. Ishidoji, the great master of Kadampa, he says, when you are alone, the place your palms on your chest and think over. If you think your mind is really, doing according to the teaching, according to the instruction, then he said you can be proud of practitioner. So this shows I myself is the witness, not others. I have to be witness to my practice. And we all know anger is no good, confusion is no good, jealousy is no good as a practitioner. And some, even the non-religious thinkers, they know anger is not good. And we as a practitioner, particularly Mahayana, we have taken Bodhisattva vow and committed a lot of things. So we know everything. But the problem comes from lack of application. Application is so important. Gampopa says, listening, contemplation, meditation, these three work together. That is the excellent practitioner, he said, Gampopa says. So we have to bring them together. We hear teachings and then bring it in and work with it. So that is the best practitioner. So focus, chosen object to us is emotion. In the teachings of meditation, to bring your mind focus on like object of image of the Buddha, or image of the syllable letter, or image of the mandala, or even it's a pure or impure object like a flower, or glass, table, etc. These are just a method to bring your mind into focus, but it takes longer time. To my understanding and great master's teaching, emotion is the best object. Best. If I have a problem with the anger, then I should bring anger is the object of my meditation. Because I have to work with the anger. I know myself, if I don't work with the anger, I cannot get rid of this problem. And I cannot overcome my problems. Because my problem is always anger. And I cannot push down anger forcefully at all. Even you push, anger is still there. So need to work with the anger, bring anger as a friend. Yeah. So I have to be nice to the anger, understanding anger, know its nature, and I have to pay attention with the anger, right? Attentively, I have to walk with the anger. If I do that slowly and gradually and unceasingly, then slowly anger will not disturb me. Now anger disturbs me because I have a lack of attention. And I'm just letting anger do whatever anger lies. Anger, I allow anger do whatever anger likes from the beginningless of time. So now I will not let anger do what anger likes to do. Instead of that, I should bring anger, and I should spy after anger, and I should look into the matter of anger, and where does it come from, where does it locate, and how does it function. So all sorts of reasoning. So I have to find out in order to realize the nature of the anger. Likewise, any other disturbing emotion, or afflictive emotion, or affliction, whatever you call, it's not useful keep saying anger no good, desire no good, this will disturb you, these are disturbing me. You blame on that, you feel bad with those confusions, will not be useful. Instead of that, we have to work. We have to work with the anger. In the Mahamudra teaching and the Mahāti teaching, the anger is just a part of your pure your basic mind. It just arises like it is. But at the same time, in order to realize your true nature of mind or your basic nature of mind, through the emotions, through the anger, through the thoughts, without the thoughts, without confusion, without those afflictions, one cannot discover your basic mind. So we need it. We need confusion, we need anger, we need all these affliction or afflictive emotion. We need it. Without these objects, one cannot discover the true nature of your mind. So, we appreciate with the anger. We appreciate our confusion. We appreciate those afflictions. Why I'm saying appreciate? Because realized or understood that without those thoughts, one cannot realize my own true nature of mind. But at the same time, we have to be very mindful, very careful when those thoughts arise. Those thoughts are so if you are able to catch up, if you are not lost in the projection. Problem comes from we lost in the projection. Mind turns outward and seeing all kinds of things, and you lost your control because the emotion arises. When emotion arises, you lost your control and you are unable to catch yourself. I have to catch myself at that moment. Everything in our daily life missing, lost, failed. Everything comes from where? Come from the failure of the catching myself. So, when thoughts arise, I have to appreciate, but at the same time, I have to remember those great, the precious instructions, and that I should apply. I should realize, I should know, and I should search, I should find out. So, our study means you study with your own emotion, not the reading books or notes or the texts. Will not work. You memorize the text, root text, and you read the commentaries, and you keep all kinds of high-tech things like a mobile phone or iPad or iPhone. You put everything inside. Does not work. If iPhone is gone, then finish. Right? So have to keep inside our mind the instructions given by great masters. So I have to work. I have to work. So meditation here is reminding myself in our everyday life. To me, I'm not surprised I'm not surprised when I hear the mind is empty or the teaching of Mahamudra, teaching of the Madhyamikas. I'm not surprised. And I don't recommend the practitioners should apply them. I always follow the instruction of the Kadampa masters and Shantidevas. So everything should be begun from the basic knowledge and the basic quality. That is the mindfulness, mental stability, reminding myself, be cautiousness, be careful, be cautious. That is our fundamental, the quality, the fundamental source of quality. If we are able to settle these qualities or work with these qualities well, then the meditation of Shunyata, or meditation of the Vajrayana, like a visualization, all sorts of those profound meditations will be arising automatically. It's not so difficult to work with them. It's so easy.
giving an example like getting into the temple is difficult if somebody locked and then you got wrong key and I'll try to open it, doesn't work, then you try to break the lock and could not. So if you are skillfully open the door and get inside the temple, then you can see all kinds of things. There's not much difficult. There's not much complications at all. So the first step, getting into the temple, likewise getting into the main meditation of the Shunyata or the true natural mind whatsoever, the main door is important. That is the mindfulness, mental stability. We cannot deny that I have a mental stability, or I'm very careful person. We are not a careful person. So, therefore, as a meditator, if you really want to become a good meditator, we should begin meditation from a meditation of mindfulness. It's so important. That's why chapter 4, chapter 5, precisely given thorough explanation by Shantideva. The Kadamba's teaching are mostly based on the explanation of how to be mindful in our daily life for the purpose of increase or develop our spiritual practice. So the system is totally different, very direct, very open, the teachings of the Kadamba. Talking about meditation is also simple and very basic and very straightforward. Very straightforward. So easy to be perceived and handle with them is no complication at all. So dealing with our daily life with the mindfulness is the source of joy and the source of happiness and the source of ultimate meditation and the benefit. We are so eager to do meditation of what we call Mahamudra or Mahāti, but it's not so easy to work with it. You can have Mahamudra campaign somewhere, or Mahāti campaign somewhere, like 6 days, 10 days, 1 month, month-long meditation. But when you finish the campaign, you are still the same, right? Or maybe sometimes more problem. I expect it. So, because this shows us what? Training is important. Training everyday life, not only the time of the course, seminar, or teaching, month-long teaching, or week-long teaching. So this shows us that we need to train freely, not under the system. Yeah? We cannot change under the system. We cannot change our habit under the obligation or lesson. We have to change it through the development of the understanding and the knowledge and wisdom. That is our daily practice, training our mind everyday life, so without relying on any unnecessary circumstances. Each and every aspect of our daily life is the meditation. I have to accept everything as it is. There is no rejection. I cannot say, I don't want to do this, or I want to do this. I cannot be particular in our practice. We have to be open. I have to be open my mind and accept everything as it is. But when I say it's so easy, but it's difficult when it comes to myself. It's not so easy. Because why is it difficult? Because of lack of training. Lack of training. It is still tight in our mind. It's not really opened. So the practice. Practice means not only follow the rules and regulation. Practice does not mean just follow the rhythmic the daily discipline. Practice means you have to get ready to accept everything as it is with the help of mindfulness. You have to be ready. I have to get ready to work with my emotion. Every situation is perfect. There's no such thing so-called the bad situation or good situation. Every situation is equally beneficial to the practitioners. So that I have to prepare for my mind, for my practice, in order to improve my meditation. So the meditation means Tibetan word gom. Gom is as you know, the familiarization. I have to familiarize every situation. Because the lack of familiarization, so everything seems difficult to me. Even I'm in session, in a retreat, but my mind is still distracted. So the place doesn't make sense. You are deep in the Himalaya, where nobody is there, but if your mind is distracted, same, doesn't work. So if your mind is peaceful and it's free from distraction, then your body is still in the crowd spot, still okay. So therefore it's a training. For the training you need all kinds of objects. You can't simply be quietly in somewhere in the solitary retreat, say that I'm away from everything. Now I'm doing my practice quite well. How do you know? How do you know that your practice is doing well? When you come back, it's still the same. So therefore, be in the crowd, be in the spot where your mind can be irritated by any situation. There, if your mind calm, tame, tranquilize, then okay. This means your practice is doing quite well. So therefore, in everyday life, as a meditator, we need all kinds of situations. So I'm not recommending you to go to retreat. I recommend you be at the noise spot. Be with the people, be with the situation, and see how. And then there you have to know. Otherwise you would not know how much improvement you have made in your practice. So therefore, I here precisely to remind you, meditation is mental stability. Meditation is mindfulness. Meditation is the cautiousness, carefulness with your practice. Meditation is not something that you are trying to look into the nature of your mind. Yeah, I could sit here and look at my true nature of mind. So what does it work? So it really doesn't work. This is not for us the time for looking into the nature of mind. For us here, the importance of the meditation is to settle our mind. Get ready, go into the main meditation. It doesn't take long if you are really get ready. So we need everyday life with every situation within your family or your relatives or strangers. So whatever community that you are in doesn't really matter. You should consider all these are as an object of your meditation and your practice. Dealing with the emotion is not so easy, right? So we have to analyze the emotion itself. We have to analyze the anger, confusion, everything. For this, we need object. With the help of object, then deal with our emotion. Then the wisdom will define. So this morning we talk about the general idea of the meditation, which is here I precisely tell you the mindfulness is to me the foundation of the meditation, not the meditation of Mahamudra or Mahati at all. So, as a Kadamba's master's teaching, so the mindfulness is the profound meditation, because lack of this, then one cannot get into the actual meditation of the Shunyata or Madhyamika whatsoever. So the profundity of the meditation, we need to apply the mindfulness. So mindfulness is the foundation. From there, then the training of the discipline, then the training of the samadhi, concentrated meditation, and then the training of the wisdom. All these three arise from the mental stability, from the mindfulness. So that's what I want to let you know. The basic understanding or the knowledge of the meditation is the mindfulness. So we will do meditation for a few minutes. The meditation of the mindfulness. And when you meditate, you continue your meditation. So, like in Jawar Tsangpa's teaching, let any emotion arise. The first, like if you have a problem with the anger, then try to arise anger. Or if you have a problem with the jealousy, and let jealous arise. Then at the same time, you apply the mindfulness. The mindfulness can see how anger, or jealousy, or any other confusion arise. How does it look like? Where does it come from? So you are analyzing with the mindfulness. So that's all for this morning.